Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrindavan. I'd like to begin by thanking the managers of this beautiful temple with your exquisitely beautiful deities. The opportunity to come here and be with all of you this evening. This is not my first trip to Bangalore, it's number 2. And I'm simply amazed at how the movement here in this city has flourished, grown exponentially. It's a powerful word, exponentially. I came here some years ago and there was, something going on, but there's like a major temple in every corner of the city. So thank you very much. That would please Peter Prabhupada unlimitedly. I'm very happy to be here and give some humble presentation on the science of Krishna consciousness. I'd like to speak this evening from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have our Bhagavad Gita, I was mentioning this morning, the ABCs of spiritual life. Then we have Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam. Grant, of course, means book. Raj means king. So Grantaraj means the king of all scriptures. 18,000, which we come to understand the absolute truth in all his aspects as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govindaji, playing his flute, the Vamsivat, calling his dear devotees, moonlight to come and dance with him. We have an understanding of him as the all-pervading Brahman, and we have an understanding of him as the super soul, the heart of every living entity. These are the 3 aspects of absolute truth or God. And we also have Chaitanya Charitamrita, which describes the very beautiful pastimes of the same Sri Krishna, surprisingly coming in the age of Kali. This itself is something most remarkable because Krishna is called Tri Yuga Avatar. Avatar means he who descends from the spiritual world, and Tri, any kindergarten child knows, kindergarten, Tri means 3. So Bhagavan or Krishna is known as Tri Yuga Avatar. He comes in 3 ages. There's no mention that he comes in Kali Yuga. Why? Well, why come to some place where you don't have a receptive audience? The Varaha Purana describes Kali Yuga as Kalosudra Sambhava. No longer do intelligent, praiseworthy Brahmins take birth for the most part, Kali Yuga, or powerful Rajrishis like Yudhishthira, Maharaj Parikshit. Very rare to find someone like your Mr. Modi, Narendra Modi, pious ruler, Rajrishi, who just established the beautiful temple of Sri Ram in Ayodhya. Jai Sri Ram! Jai Sri Ram! Jai Sri Ram! The children are more enthusiastic than you. Kali Yuga means the burnt remnants of previous ages. Those who did not make it back to the spiritual world in Satya Yuga, the golden age. Those who didn't make it back to the supreme abode in Treta Yuga. And even those who didn't make it back to the spiritual world when Sri Krishna himself appeared at his Janmabhoomi, Mathura, Vrindavan. So many souls have already left. We're the leftovers. It's like sometimes you cook a meal and your guests come and they don't eat everything. There's leftovers. Who eats the leftovers? We give it to the animals out of compassion. So no one can be proud in the age of Kali, because at best we're a leftover. We didn't make it in the previous ages. But in the eyes of the Supreme, the eyes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everyone is near it. Just like you have children, and let's say you have 3 or 4 children, common these days, and 3 of your children are nice children. They get good education. They go on to university, graduate with a nice degree, and marry, family, have friends. But then there's the errant, the black sheep. Sometimes we say in English, the black sheep. You have a herd of white sheep, and one sticks out, the black sheep. He's naughty. He does all the bad things. So let's say you have one of your 4 sons is a black sheep. He's rascal, devious. He gets involved in all types of corrupt activities. Let's say he becomes dacoit. Dacoit's a strong word in your language. In America, we have robber or thief. We don't have anything so strong as dacoit. In Vrindavan, if you say dacoit, people's hair stands on there. Oh, dacoit. Let's say your son becomes dacoit. But he's your son. So you're always hoping that he'll be rectified. And no matter how bad he gets, you're always there to help him. One of my friends was not really a friend, but an associate in high school. He became involved in all kinds of sinful activities, and he committed a very notorious crime. And the judge put him away for 50 years. This is when I was 21 years. Prabhu? So, we used to exchange letters, mail. And I say, it's really bad what we did. I mean, you probably deserve to be in jail. He says, yeah, I know. But my mom comes every Sunday and she says, you're a good boy. I know you're a good boy. I always told the judge you shouldn't go to jail. I know you. You're a good boy. The judge said, yeah, but he did this. But he's a good boy. And our mothers are. So that's an analogy. No, analogy works perfectly in describing a spiritual principle. But in the eyes of the Supreme Lord, every one of his sons and daughters is dear to him, even if they're errant, even if they Bahir Mukha. Jagannatha Pandit in his Prema Vivarta, he gives an analogy. He says, Bahir Mukha, Mukha face, Bahir, you turn your face from someone you're speaking to. Impolite. Saying this morning, my mother used to, I do something naughty, she'd speak to me and I'd go, son, you look at me, I'm speaking to you. I told you, you look at me, I'm speaking to you. Because if you're speaking to a superior, so Jagannatha Pandit, in this Prema Vivarta, he uses this analogy that we've turned our face from Krishna. And those who turn their face to Krishna, Krishna is brilliant like the sun. And if you turn your back on the sun, all you see is the shadow. We turn our back on God and we see the shadow of material existence. We see the perverted reflection of the all blissful, eternal, spiritual world which is full of knowledge. We see the darkness of it. This is our position. And in that darkness of ignorance, the greatest ignorance, there's so many ignorance. I struggled in math. I kept telling my teacher, 2 + 2 is 5. Prove it. 2 + 2 is 5. All your children are expert in math, I see. I always ask the kids, what's your favorite subject? Math. I'm taking trigonometry. I'm only 5 years old. So the Lord never forgets us. Although we've turned our back on him, we're like the black sheep. Small, very small, tiny, tiny number of living entities fall from grace into this material world. Very small number. But the Lord never forgets us. We forget him. We even make up false philosophies. Some class of people, they make up philosophies to deny the existence of their Father. That's ridiculous. Krishna says in the Gita that he's the seed-giving Father of all living entities. There's one Supreme Father from whom everything has come. Aham sarvasya pabhavo matta sarvam pavartate. One of the 700 verses. Krishna says, I'm the source of all that is material and all that is spiritual. So we're spiritual. And the source is the Supreme Lord. And so therefore we're all brothers and sisters. The Prabhupada said this is the peace formula. Peace. But whereas we can fall under the influence of the material energy and forget God, he never forgets us. He's always devising ways to come to this world to rescue us. The famous verse in Bhagavad Gita, he comes to deliver the pious, to annihilate the miscreants, reestablish the principles of religion again and again and again and again, as Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, and as his various incarnations, as is required. When the first demon in the universe, Hiranyaksha, took the earth planet out of great envy and malice, this is what influences the demoniac, he took Bhumi Devi. Bhumi Devi is a person. She's not just earth and rock. Everything's personal. Kingdom of God. So he threw her down into the Garbhodak ocean, the bottom of the universe, which is not considered to be the cleanest place. So in order to rescue Bhumi, one of the devotees, the devotees are dear to the Lord because they're part of his administration. Just like in Narendra Modi, he doesn't do everything himself. He's got ministries, education, warfare, of science. He has ministers helping him run the government. So the Lord, he has his devotees, and they administer the material creation while he enjoys in the playground of God, in Goloka Vrindavan. He doesn't have to do all that dirty work. So in order to rescue Bhumi Devi, because it was a critical situation, even the devotees were perplexed how to do that, because Hiranyaksha had also conquered the 14 worlds. He conquered the devotees. So the Lord came in an appropriate form. Who goes into the sewer? The boars, the pigs, they go there. So he took the form of a boar. The Lord took the form of a boar, but no ordinary one. Satchidananda Vigraha. Vigraha means form. So his form was eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Wow, look at that boar. He came down, he rescued Bhumi Devi on the tips of his tusks and placed it back. He came as half man, half lion to rescue Prahlad Maharaj. He came as Matsya, a fish, to rescue the Vedas in the ocean. He goes to great extremes. The Lord goes to great extremes to rescue us. Still, we don't want to go. Vasudeva Savamiti Samahatma Sadulavaha. Very few souls come to the point of being qualified to be rescued and go back to the spiritual world. Manushyanam sahasvesu siddhaya. Out of thousands and millions of men, perhaps one will be able.
And then you go on from reading the books, it's become beyond by serving to the Prabhupada of this movement. Realize the best part of life is old age. Life begins at 75. And you know, all your hard work, you know, it's going to be rewarded because in a few years, back home. So therefore, the bhajan and envy, generally they're elderly, and they chant in solitude because they just want to focus. Yam yam bhavi smaram bhava. Whatever one is thinking about at the moment of death, that state one will attain. So just to make sure, the elderly age, the future, he can retire. Prabhupada wanted to retire to write his book because he's managing his whole movement. We just couldn't get it together enough as his disciple so that he could retire. But that was his hope, that he could retire as Krishna. So he gave us the principle. Old age means retiring for the purpose of chanting Hare Krishna. So a perfect example of a bhajan ananti, one who renounces the world for the purpose of just glorifying his beloved, is Orchestra's mother. Namo Orchestraya Sakshat Vairanyam Otaye Vipralamma Rasam Bodhe Paramudaya Te Namaha. I offer my obeisances to Orchestra Babaji, who is renunciation personified. He's always merged in the feeling of separation and intense love of Krishna. That's old age. You better hope that by the time you get to that stage of elderly, you've used your youth for acquiring knowledge. Youth is meant for acquiring knowledge from 5 to 25. Middle age is meant for utilizing that knowledge for maintaining your family, country, world at large. But old age is meant for pure Krishna consciousness. At some point, you have to retire. Not necessarily become a sannyasi, but retire in your heart, staying on a positive, staying with your family. But your whole endeavor goes to becoming Krishna consciousness. So this is the real reason. So Orchestra Das Babaji is a perfect example of a bhajan, full of Krishna consciousness. Here you go, just chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. This is a good example. He would chant 100,000 names in his mind. He would chant 100,000 names softly, and he would chant 100,000 names loudly. Kirtan yat sadamari Prabhupada. If you got time, chant Hare Krishna. So he used 18 hours a day to chant 192 rounds. He set an example. We may not be able to imitate it, but we can always be increasing because life is short and then we die. One of my god sisters was getting initiated. As per our custom and tradition, she came forward. Prabhupada said, so what are the four rules and regulations? She said, well, not, your old girl. No nudity, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. Prabhupada said, how many rounds? Prabhupada, I'll chant a minimum of 60 rounds every day. She smiled. Prabhupada became very serious. He leaned over and he said, why a minimum of 60? Why not more? Prabhupada wanted us to chant 64. That was the standard in Gaudiya Math. But we couldn't do it. Even in Bharat, we can't. We're talking about New York and San Francisco. Even here, it's busy as bees, IT, whatever. So he said, okay, we couldn't do 32. He said, all right, 16 minimum chanting. And you get the same benefit had you chant, more if you just can meet the minimum standard. Prabhupada said one time that Vishwamitra Muni, he achieved full enlightenment, full Krishna consciousness by meditating on the glaciers in the Himalayas for 60,000 years. And he smiled and said, you can get the same benefit by going out on Sankirtan and chanting very loudly in public for 2 days. Hare Krishna. So how blessed, this is like a sale. You know, there's some high price commodity all year long, it costs so much. But there's a time of the year, you know, after New Year, when people always spend their money. There's a sale, and it's 50% off. I saw a sale in France one time, it was 75% off of this. The line was 2 blocks down. It's buying it. So of God, which is rarely achieved. Krishna rarely gives pure love of God because he's achieved. He comes under the control of his devotee who has pure love for him. Radha doesn't do what Krishna says. Krishna does what Radha says. She has prem bhakti. She controls Krishna. He's Madan Mohan. He's the attractor of Cupid. She's Madan Mohan Mohini. She's the attractor of Cupid. So by bhakti, you can Krishna will become your friend, he'll become your child. And it's very rarely attained. But in Kali Yuga, there's a sale. Lord Chaitanya's coming and saying there's a sale. You just do 16 rounds in 2024. You chant Hare Krishna. You take prashadam. You follow the 4 regs. Go. It's just incorporated. One time Prabhupada was giving a lecture in Chicago. He was speaking very straight. So, to achieve pure love of God, go back home. You have to fully get rid of your material. Fully, 100%. Everyone was like, you know, these are young boys and girls just off the street, 2 years, struggling to chant and finish their rounds. Fully, he said. They looked around and said, okay, 90%. 90% your heart has to. Still, everybody like, well, the class was finished. He said, okay, 80%. You have to cleanse 80%. Lord Chaitanya is very kind. You're getting some special concession here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, more merciful than Krishna. 80%. So then Prabhupada, he stood up to get off the Vyasa, threw his charter around him. He said, all right, 76%, but nothing less. So there's a concession, there's a sale going on. Who can take advantage of this commodity, priceless love of God? So renunciation is important. Prabhupada said one time, sense gratification and pure devotional service, they don't mix very well. So you have to gradually renounce so you can get to pure prema bhakti. And so it is that sometimes Prabhupada's written another book where sometimes when the opportunity arises, a bhajan and ending may also try to prevent them. Something we now saw before, something may come up. I've achieved the most valuable thing. Let me share it. Because this is the distinguishing quality of Vaishnava. This unhappiness is when he sees people bereft of Krishna consciousness, and his or her happiness is when he sees people getting the opportunity. This is selfless bhakti, devotion. So at one day, Gorkashkar Das Babaji, he had this desire, this spiritual desire to preach. Did you know that? You probably didn't know. There was a time when Gorkashkar Das Babaji, the personification of renunciation, he used to eat out of a human skull. Just he was serving us. He would chant his rounds down by the river where people passed school, so no one would bother him in his bhajan. He would take a palm full of buttermilk every day as his food. He had no interest in this. No interest. He was fully immersed in Krishna consciousness. One day he came out from under the boat. He's always like this in the photo, right? He's living under a boat. Boat turned upside down on the bank of the Yamuna. He came out. The photographer got him inside. That's why we could see his photo. his birthday. So one day he decided he wanted to come out and preach Krishna consciousness. So he went into Navadvip and he bought a first-class dhoti, got a donation, first-class sash, nice shiny kantimala, shaved the head very nicely, brand new bead bag, and he went on the streets of Navadvip. Pitai Gaura Haribo, Pitai Gaura, please, all of you people of Navadvip, take this Maha Mantra. Wake up! How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? Everyone just walked past him. He had a few pamphlets about the importance of chanting Hare Krishna. No one was interested. For 3 days, he tried to preach. On the streets of Navadvip, not a soul stopped. Navadvip, what's Navadvip? Mayapur, that's where Gauranga appeared. The Prabhupada has explained that when you've got a bright candle, the light is going, spreading around, the darkest part is right under the candle. You can see it tomorrow. The light's going like that, but the darkest part is not just something, because the light's going like this. It's dark right under the candle. So the analogy has been given. Navadvip is the epicenter of all spiritual life. It's the yoga peace where Gauranga appeared. People were not interested in Krishna consciousness. It's really interesting. So for 3 days, please stop, take this pamphlet, chant it. He said, so he gave up, took off all that fancy clothes, put back on some cloth he found on the banks of it, went back under his boat. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Because his purpose in the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was to show there has to be some austerity. The Bible says you can't say bad sense gratification, God simultaneously. So he set the example of renunciation. We also are no baby, no intoxication, renunciation. To give us inspiration that can't be done. Their personality. He just showed renunciation. So we offer respects to him. And we offer our respects to those devotees who know the value of chanting Krishna and walk around this earth to tell everyone, even in the most degraded places. Just like Maharaj Krishna. He once glorified the Buddha. Prabhadriya Bhagavatas Tirthatas Svayam Guru Tirthi Purvati Tirthani Shmata Shenam. My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified, because you carry the personality of God in your heart. You turn all places into places. Pure devotee like Vidura or Shiv Prabhupada, wherever they go, they carry the Dhamma with them. They carry the Dhamma with them because the Dhamma's in their heart, and all they're talking about is money. Like this, when they go to the let's say Nanda Muni, he's a good example. He doesn't just travel around the earth. He travels all over the 14 worlds. And when he does what he does, he goes to Vaikuntha and he tells Lord Narayan, he gives a report. It's like a good businessman. Lost one thing to do. So he goes back to God. He gives a report. He goes back into these people. He's such an exalted devotee. He's never affected by the major generation, despite the fact that he goes from Vaikuntha down to Follow. I told the story many times. One of my godbrothers asked you to follow my friends. Darshan said, Swamiji, where are you going when you die? We were shocked to be devoted.
You don't ask your spiritual master the question, like, where are you going? You should ask him, where am I going when I die? But Prabhupada's answer shocked everyone. He said, oh, when I die, I plan to go to the Tala to continue spreading this. So these are the we respect the Bhagavad Gita. They're just finishing up the Bible. But the notion that is to be Christians go anywhere and everywhere. They spread the science of Krishna. And in doing so, they make disciples. Like the Roman is such a great question. His disciple is Prahlad Maharaj. One of the 12 Maharajas, one of the 12 authorities in the science of Krishna, Indradyumna Maharaj. Oh, we can see how exalted he is. But we can see how even more exalted he is in being able to deliver Raya the Hunter. Valmiki. Jai Sri Ram! He delivered Valmiki, the author of the he was writing people as they came into the village. Rather than God, ruler, and how did deliver Valmiki? He's getting people. So he said, you're such a simple person, you should chant the name of Rama. You can purify. So Valmiki was so sinful he couldn't say God. Sinful people are cursed unless they get the mercy. So the spiritual master is more intelligent than the disciple. They said, brother, he said, okay, can you say the name of death? So it says that death is Bhagavad. So Narada said, they chant the name of death, but just for full enthusiasm. Do because if you chant Bhagavad, you technically do quickly. And you may be surprised that he's such a compassionate video, such a content when a person sees a big dog, sees the soul. So the Radha Muni is a personification of that verse about here. Because one time a snake came and asked for diksha. Radha Muni had been in a particular part of the forest for some time. He was lecturing to the sages. And actually, the trees were hearing, the birds were hearing, the tigers were hearing, all the different animals were hearing. And there was one snake who lived in a hole just next to where Radha Muni was speaking. Prophet said one time, just as Brahma can populate the entire universe, that's his stats, it's populate, create progeny. So many living beings, living entities in the universe. Prophet said, purely voting and delivering. So that's the power of the universe. It's another example. To think that the glories of chanting Hare Krishna are exaggeration is compromise. As Brahma can populate to the Prajapatis, an entire universe, what does that mean? It's the art of human. Pure love, delay.
So there's a snake. The snake is in the kata. Prabhupada said this chanting Hare Krishna should be heard from the lips of pure devotee to have special effects. So the snake slithered out. Daily, please extend them. So I want to leave your fiction and your diksha. You want I'm going to say it perfect. Please don't judge me by my body. You ever judge my strokes? And Bhagavad Gita can do it with trouble, but it's trying to do this. We are Christian conscience. So God is you when you speak messages with my heart, they want to give up material. I want to give up material life. I want to be serve you. So there was same traditional fire the Southerners came, but what's going on there? The snake is being delivered. So then, running into the snake. So what are the 5 regulations? So the snake was full. Once there's 5 weeks, no meeting, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. Today. 5th regulation, no more fighting. So your name is Ananta Shishtakas. And he went to the village. Village boys see the so because he was supposed to be a humble Vaishnava, he was going to the village and the boys caught him and started beating him. He didn't do anything. He didn't show his teeth. Become a humble Vaishnava. So next day he went to the movies. The boys were beating me. What do I do? Why didn't you say you should show your teeth? Well, I thought I wasn't supposed to do something. It's intelligent enough to change us. It didn't ask you to describe your intelligence. So next time the boys come, they'll go away. Finish once. So why is God so merciful? Because he was delivered to himself. It's a little past. Sometimes everybody's put themselves in situations, fears themselves, so they can show us how to manage. So the past is describing that Ramuni was living in Shwargalok. Shwargalok is not the spiritual world, it's enjoyment. So the senior staff of the temple. Okay, he's a teenager. So Prabhupada says the purport of what he did with his friends in the joking man was to Prabhupada something. They went out and sang cinema songs, modern day Bollywood songs. They started dancing like Bollywood. And the authorities This teenage boy is supposed to be singing God on the heavenly planet. He's singing Bollywood songs and dancing all the actors. So they said to him, you go down to the earth planet, take birth as Sudra. It's all a leela to facilitate us eventually. So, wow. Died. He took birth. His mother didn't. She was 3 that he took birth. But every pastime of Krishna consciousness, so the group of sannyasi devotion. These sannyasis came through, and it was the rainy season. So the rainy season, sannyasis didn't travel, they stayed in a place to study with their life and cultures. So they asked to stay in this cottage, this extra cottage that she had. She So one day, she would cook for them, cooking for vegetables. She cooked for them. So one day, she distributed the saga, and the little boy provided something. And the little boy, one of the sannyasis, takes some roti, and he says, "Little boy, would you like this?" Yeah. So that little boy took that saga and right away quoted it. That moment, the very nature of the transcendentalist became affected. Just because he took the food of the life. The depth of the faith, the water of the wishes to see, but the remembrance of the food of this planet are both the sources of the faith. So, from that very moment, the nature of the transcendentalist became attractive. When his mother passed away, laws of nature, he just left over. He became a renunciate. Prashad was so happy. One time Renunciation was taking prashad next to the some studies, offenders came by and said, "Oh, look at those Vaishnavas with their guru. They say that vegetables are transcendental, that vegetables offered to the idols of the temple has some spiritual effect." Apparently, Renunciation, his disciples, and Prashad, they go to hell. But being compassionate, Renunciation took a bite, rubbed the fish through, and actually the fish came to eat the piece of the roti. And upon eating it, through 6 pieces, all 6 fish contain the siddhas root. Now, by four arms, beautiful, like Uttavasis, like angels. He went back to make so he became Krishna conscious again. He was always Krishna conscious. And he became elevated to the stage from a student to one of the patron saints. By festival to all introducing Indian culture, the culture of spiritual philosophy. In Poland, for 2.5 months every year, we went along the beachfront, different towns and villages. Every night, 5,000 people to hear the kata, to do kirtan, to watch fun, to see Maharaj, to bring sorrows, doing like this, to give them a little taste of consciousness. So like that, Radha, he travels the whole universe. So we can get an association. Vaishnava devotee who's turned his back on material existence, even if he's just doing his first 16 rounds. Or we can get the association of someone like Sri Prabhupada, or many of the wonderful gurus and leaders who come to this world. Our success is guaranteed. My dear King of Uganda, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with dust with lotus feet of devotees, one cannot see the last. Radharani is what he said about being a solid devotee and being devotion and traveling and preaching Krishna consciousness, thinking of the welfare of all conditioned souls, just like the modern day he said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, sometimes I feel sad to see some people suffering in this world. Sometimes I feel sad to see people suffering in this world. Prabhupada shot back. Why sometimes? Sometimes I'm sad to see people bereft of Krishna consciousness. He thought about a good boy. I said, why sometimes? So such pictures, they have preferences. They give everyone their presented devotees to Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, it looks like everyone loves him. Prabhupada said, yes, that's because I love you. The early years of the devotees, Prabhupada was publishing Dr. man, and he employed one man to help him in this, receiving the requests from Dr. Prabhupada. And one day he employed the stealing money. So the devotees didn't want him in this. He's stealing money. What should we do with the term? Being Prabhupada said, only one thing to do. And the devotee said, arrest him. Prabhupada said, no, forgive him. Forgive him, give him prashad, encourage him to read the Bhagavad Gita and invite him to your properties. So this is the vision. They've come to the world with black sheep, want to like Krishna, like father, like son, they want to. So they find such a soul with Sri Prabhupada, forgive our past sins, bless us with all the age of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. This is Father. What time? I'd like to leave you with something. We know what our call is. We know who we are. So, during the pandemic, I hate to say that. Pandemic involved a lot of misfortune. Following the injunctions, Sadasi can't stay in one place more than 3 years. Rolling Stone gathers in boxes, always traveling, moving. Can't have been gone for 3 years. Your government slammed the door. Can't go in and out for 3 years. So I'm walking, pacing back on the hillside. I look at the shelf of books. Articles. So I studied and studied and studied. Prabhupada's books, beautiful poetry. That's what I do all my life. So I started giving lectures in Vrindavan. And I'm still giving lectures. Friday, post, YouTube channel about Vrindavan. Can you imagine 500 lectures on Vrindavan? Because Vrindavan is 60 billion. So many great persons, so many devotees, there's so much there. So I started speaking on disciples. They want to start printing those transcripts of these lectures into book form. It's called The Sacred Forms of Vrindavan, and the subtitle is Question. So I took the advice from Dina Bhakti, by Guru Radhanath Swami, is another my groups. Gopi Rani, Pastor Waves, good adult, consultant with GBC Shire. I gave these lectures in transcript. So if you want to know anything about it, read everything as much as this book, and it's published in a very nice way. And not only all of the whole difference is described, but there's been pages. So it's a beautiful thing. Here I am hugging a desire tree. So when you go to Vrindavan, it's the same person who can see with his eyes, sees with his ears. You go to the holy place to associate with the holy family. You can reveal to us the spiritual masters, the revealer of dawn. So we have to hear about it. You can't just see what how to enter the temple, how to live in the temple. Who's Radha? Who's Krishna? Who's Krishna? Who's Rukmini? Who's Radha? Who's Sridham? This is the place you want to go. How can you get attracted to go to this place unless you know about it? So you have to learn about it. So this is the first in the series. I mean, there's like 50 holy places. You take this with you, go to Radha. What's that book that Maharaj gave us there? I know. And you can just sit back and read about Radha for 2 hours. Come to know so many things you never had to. And if you can't go to Vrindavan, you can read this book with Thomas. One day I woke up, I saw my house transformed into the Loka. So this is generous to you. It does cost something, but believe me, I'm not doing it. I walked away from the I don't have to but I have just here to share the real bliss of Krishna consciousness, the sacred philosophy. We distributed 1,300 books. They're really expensive. They're 2,500 rupees. But so we have registered. So we have about 25 books left. But what we're going to do is we have 1,000. Book here. I wanted to mention if you buy a book this evening, piece of paper, but they will have it signed with a little dedication. Other sheets are chanting.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj explained, we are going to pick up the book table here. In this place, we are going to be distributing the books. Sorry. The books. We can either take on data. We have right now about 22 books, but then more books are getting printed and getting smaller. So we have made plans for 3 hours. So we can come there money to get some for the farm, and I will take the number and address and we will ship you the time very soon.
No. Remove. ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದಲ್ಲ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ ನಾನು ಫೋನ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಕಾಲು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾರು ಫೋನ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಕಾಲು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಫೋನ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಅದೇ ಅವರ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಕಾಲ್ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು Temples. ನನಗೆ Prabhuji, you stay with Maharaj. Yeah, yeah. You need to give him a gift. Will you give it to him? What kind of gift? Huh? Is it offered or no? It's offered or it's prasad? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can wait one comfort by himself, or like you can take it. It will take a long while. Yeah. After books, you can come. Yeah. It will take a long while. You might have to leave. Okay, okay. Great. There's a note also. Okay, okay. We'll this is Gandala. Which country? Which country? Ukraine. Ukraine. Oh. ನಾನು ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಮರ ಯಾರ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀರಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ನಂದ ಹೋಗಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾಣ್ತೀರಾ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾಣ್ತೀರಾ ಫೋಟೋಸ್
ಸೇಮ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಾ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸೇಮ್
ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಓಕೆ ನೈಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೀರಿ
ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ
ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಗಾಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಯಾವ ಗಾಡಿ road